Hi, this video is to tell you about help that's available if you've lost wages because of the coronavirus shutdown or its economic impact. I'm Tim Shaddix with the Warehouse Worker Resource Center. We're a nonprofit organization based in Ontario, California, and we use education, advocacy, and action to fight for workers' rights, with a focus mainly on the warehousing logistics industry, but also for workers across all industries. And we're sharing this video because, as you all know, the coronavirus pandemic is having an enormous impact on our economy. Many people, including probably some of you, have found themselves suddenly with less income as their employers have cut hours or closed temporarily, or in some cases, even permanently. Or perhaps you're just worried that this might be around the corner if it hasn't happened for you already. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you may be eligible to get help from the government in the form of unemployment insurance benefits if you find yourself in a situation with lost income. This video focuses mainly on unemployment insurance. In other videos, we'll discuss other issues related to the coronavirus that you may be concerned about, such as safety on the job or paid sick leave. So be sure to look out for those coming up on our page. Now, before we begin, it's important to note that this video is only meant to provide general information. Although I am an attorney, this video is not legal advice for your individual situation, because everyone's situation is different. You should consult with an attorney if you have legal questions about your own particular case. So, let's talk about unemployment insurance. What is it? Unemployment insurance is a state program that provides cash benefits as a partial replacement for lost wages if you've lost your job or had your hours reduced through no fault of your own, which is exactly what has happened with the many people whose jobs had to cut hours or close because of the governor's stay-at-home order or the economic impact that's happened because of the shutdown. So, if you get unemployment insurance, the amount of money that eligible workers can receive is based largely on how much money you were earning in your job beforehand. And the amount can range for the benefits from about $40 to $450 per week under normal circumstances. But because of the coronavirus emergency, this like new emergency legislation that was passed by the federal government, people who receive unemployment insurance now should start getting an additional $600 per week on top of whatever their normal benefit would be. These extra payments, at least for now, will only last through July 31st of this year for folks who are on benefits remaining eligible. Now, as long as you remain eligible for benefits, normally you can receive unemployment insurance for up to 26 weeks, which comes out to about 6.5 months. Now, however, the new federal emergency legislation actually extends the amount of time you can receive benefits. It gives people an additional 13 weeks of benefits if you remain eligible. And even then, once these benefits are exhausted, you may be eligible for a new benefit that's called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. This provides up to 39 weeks of unemployment assistance for workers who are not eligible for the regular state unemployment benefits, including if you've exhausted your benefits and are still eligible. And generally speaking, once you qualify for benefits, you can remain eligible as long as you are partially or completely unemployed and you're still physically able to work. And the usual requirement is that you're available to accept work and you're still actively looking for work. But you don't necessarily have to be actively looking for work if you expect to return to your same employer within a few weeks. And I should say that I think generally speaking, a lot of these normal requirements to be looking for applying for a job may be a little less strict if you are unemployed because of the coronavirus during this emergency. In addition to that, there are a few requirements to receive unemployment insurance benefits in terms of eligibility that you should be aware of. Mainly that you have to have an earned income amount in terms of your wages over the past 13 to 18 months that meets a certain minimum to be eligible to apply. This gets a little bit complicated, but just to explain, when you apply for unemployment benefits, EDD, the state agency that administers benefits, looks at what they call a base period, which is a 12-month time period before your claim. Now, no, it's not the 12 months immediately before when you applied for benefits. Without getting into too much detail, EDD usually looks at a 12-month period that starts farther back. depending on your circumstances, either 13 or 18, up to 18 months back. Um, and the benefit amount that you receive will be based upon the wages that you earned during that 12-month base period. Um, and to qualify, you have to have earned a minimum amount. You have to have earned the minimum threshold is you have to have earned at least $1,300 total during the highest paid quarter, which is a 3-month period during the 12-month base period. Or alternatively, if you don't meet that $1,300 threshold, then you have to have earned at least $900 in your highest paid quarter and have total earnings for the whole 12-month base period that are at least 1.25 times the earnings from your highest paid quarter. Now, I know this may sound overly complicated, but at the end of the day, if you've been working pretty regularly for the past year, even part-time, you're more than likely to meet the minimum earnings requirement. You might have questions if you have significant gaps in employment, in which case you could ask us or an organization like ours for help to figure that out, or EDD will help you figure that out when you apply. Um, so those are the normal rules. But again, under this new federal emergency legislation that created the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, this provides additional unemployment assistance to people who would be left out of regular state of employment insurance, and that includes people who don't have a long enough work history to qualify under the normal rules. So even if you think you don't meet the normal unemployment rules for having enough work history, it might be worth applying with EDD to see if you qualify for the new pandemic unemployment assistance. Another thing to note is that the wages in your base period can be from any employer. So even if you've only worked for your most recent employer for a short time, it doesn't mean you're not eligible. You can still be eligible for unemployment benefits if you have enough earnings from any employer across that 12-month base period. Another important eligibility requirement to note is that to receive unemployment insurance benefits, you must be in what EDD calls satisfactory immigration status and be authorized to work in the US. And this is for both when you earned your wages in your base period and also for while you're receiving benefits. Unfortunately, this means that unlike almost every other workplace right and benefit in California, undocumented workers, unfortunately, are generally not eligible for unemployment insurance. Now, DACA recipients and others with valid work authorization may be eligible. Again, if you have that valid work authorization during your base period and while receiving benefits. So, if you have lost work, but don't think you're eligible, there may, however, be some other assistance that's available to you through other programs or through some charitable programs that are out there. So if you're worried about making ends meet and don't think you might be eligible for unemployment insurance, you can contact us or other community-based organizations, and we can help you figure out what might be available for you. Now, some of you may also be asking, what if I'm not a traditional employee who gets a W-2? What if I'm self-employed or an independent contractor or a gig worker like an Uber driver? Well, the good news is that a lot of people in these categories may be eligible for help as well right now. First thing to think about is that if you're in this situation, if you're an independent contractor, California law is pretty strict when it comes to allowing companies to treat workers as independent contractors instead of as employees. If you're doing the kind of core work of a company's business, such as, say, cleaning for a janitorial company, there's a good chance you should be an employee. And if your boss treats you as a contractor instead, they may be doing what's called misclassifying your position. And the reason we talk about this is because unemployment insurance is usually only available to employees. But if you've been misclassified, you can apply for unemployment insurance and argue that you're really an employee, and EDD will make a determination based upon the facts of your situation. We and a lot of people believe that many gig workers like Uber drivers are misclassified as well, and some drivers have had success winning unemployment benefits. So it may be worth trying if you find yourself in that situation. That said, again, because of the coronavirus emergency, we have this new program, the new Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, which is, as I've said before, is meant to provide unemployment assistance to people who wouldn't normally be eligible under the state program. And it provides up to 39 weeks of benefits. So this program should be available also to people who are self-employed or who legitimately work as independent contractors and aren't misclassified. So, big takeaway once again is that if you've had your hours cut, if you've been laid off, or your work is shut down because of the coronavirus, you may be eligible for unemployment insurance and should probably apply. I just want to mention another reason you may be eligible for unemployment insurance, and that's if you are a parent and your child's school has been closed due to coronavirus. If you have to miss work in order to care for your child, you may be eligible for unemployment insurance. EDD and looking at that will consider if you have no other care options, and if you're unable to continue working your normal hours, teleworking or remotely. If both of those things are true, then there's a greater chance that they'll determine that you would be eligible for unemployment benefits because of the school closure and your need to miss work to provide care for your child or children. Okay, so we've covered a lot about eligibility. Now let's talk about how you actually apply for unemployment benefits if you think you're eligible. Now, first, before you apply, it can be helpful to gather some information that you may need. This includes your own personal information, your most recent employer information, including the company name, your supervisor's name, the company's address and phone number, the last date you worked, and the reason you are no longer working. You'll also be asked for your gross earnings for the last week you worked, which starts on the Sunday and ending on your last day of work. Also, information on all the employers you worked for during probably the past 18 months. And again, that includes the company name, the address, the dates of employment, gross wages earned, how many hours per week you were working, how many hours per week you were working, hourly rates of pay, and the reason you're no longer working at those jobs. You'll also be asked about your citizenship status, and if you're not a U.S. citizen, information about your employment authorization document. So these are all good things that it's helpful to figure out where the information is and gather it before you apply. When you're ready to apply, again in California, you apply with the Employment Development Department, or the EDD, and the fastest and most convenient way to apply if you have access to the internet is online on the EDD website. If you want, you can also apply over the phone or download and mail an application, but the online application is faster and allows ED to connect your information with other databases, so it should allow them to process your application faster. And we have below this video the website and phone number for EDD. If this will be your first time applying for benefits with EDD, you'll have to register a new online account. And we also have a link below to a video from EDD that walks you through how to do that. And then after you create an account, you need to start a new online application. And we also have a helpful video from EDD that has step-by-step instructions on how to do that, which again we've linked to below. Then, after filing a claim, you should be mailed important information about your claim and the unemployment insurance program. Make sure that you read this carefully and respond to all requests for information to avoid any delays, and that you respond to ongoing requirements in the program to keep them updated on your status. So there you have it. I hope this has been helpful in learning about unemployment insurance that may be available, again, if you find yourself losing wages in these really difficult times. So please see the links below for more helpful information on applying for benefits. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us through our Facebook page, by email, or by phone. All of our contact information is below as well. And again, please stay tuned for more information soon on other topics, such as what benefits you may be able to get if you have to miss work because of an illness or a family member's illness. And we will also be posting a video similar to this one soon in Spanish. So thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. As we like to say right now, physical distancing, but social solidarity. The Warehouse Worker Resource Center is here to help however we can. Thanks.